to Viewer Discretion, an entertainment podcast co-hosted by myself and David Dennis Jr. Today, we are here yet again to recap Pluribus, but we are sticking with the theme, I guess, of the world ending because we are adding on another post-apocalyptic show.
Yeah.
Fallout Season 2 just came out on Amazon Prime, and it's funny, they're both like, I would put in that genre, but these are very different television shows.
Yeah, they are. They're a sci-fi post-apocalypse in a much different. One's a literal video game, It's a literal video game. So there's nothing. It's hardly comparable.
I have a lot of thoughts about that. I want to talk to you about like Fallout and like the video game aspect of it, and whether it's the best video game show ever. But before we get to that, we are of course going to continue. Yeah, I know. Think about it.
Good tease. That's a good one.
We're going to talk about Pluribus. Our suspicions were right. The much-awaited meeting between Carol and Manousos is being pushed to the finale.
Yeah.
This episode is called Charm Offensive. And it continues a lot of the themes of the prior episode of Carol and Manousos technically being on the same side, but taking very different paths. But it sets up the stakes for Carol, I think, in terms of whether, like, if Carol and Manousos had met in episode 4, I think we would assume, great, they're going to work together. They're going to immediately be like, great, finally somebody's willing to resist. Now we have some doubts about Carol and how open how resistant she truly is. Because the title of the episode, I think, kind of accurately refers to her experience. But it starts with Manousos. Before we get to Carol, there's so much to talk about. We wake up. He wakes up. There's not a lot here, so we can get, we see that they have healed him. We see a creepy doctor. The next shot is of him holding a knife to the doctor's throat.
Yeah.
My guy. He realizes he's in Panama, which means they have crossed him over the gap. And you and we talked about like, oh no, they're going to be in his body. Are they doing it? He's still the same grumpy dude. He still doesn't want help. He demands a bill and an ambulance. And that's it for Manousos until the end.
I thought that was actually a fascinating scene. So it's Manousos wanting to like be part of this societal norm, right? The whole time he's paying for gas. Like he's maintaining the order of society as society has broken down. Then he asks for the bill and they're like, it's $8,000. And it seems as though there's this moment of him being like, is society actually the right way to go about this thing, right? Because it's like, he's offering to pay for everything, but when you get into the medical field and insurance and lack of insurance, you kind of have this moment of realizing, I think actually a little bit of change and like reform is not a bad thing.
Well, that's a really interesting point because the case for the hive mind, the joining, is kind of. And they don't really get into it. We don't really see them talk about Zosia make a strong argument for why things are better now, other than, I mean, we've had glimpses of it. Or Akumba saying like, there's no racism now, that, talking about the lack of violence and whatever. But a case could be made that like, hey, everyone, universal healthcare.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he leaves an IOU there, right, and keeps it moving. Our guy has not wavered one instance in terms of him wanting to get to New Mexico.
I bet we'll circle back to this moment. I bet he'll be thinking about this moment as he's thinking about society and $8,000 medical bills.
They want to do these parallels to, like, he wakes up, we see the blood on the floor, and then we realize which is again interesting because they were in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Carol's scene starts with kind of a similar shot where it looks like blood, but she's actually making some punch for her new friend.
Very Breaking Bad like visual turn. We've seen those before. I think about there was actually an episode that started. You remember when Walter and Jesse got into that fight, the physical fight, and it starts with the blood on Walter's Wally's.
Yeah,
and he's putting his glasses and everything, and we see how he got to that point.
Is Manousos Jesse? I'm trying to. If she's Walter, but she's not. I mean, it's not. He is insofar as like he's the side character, kind of, who becomes very important, and the people might like him more. I would suppose. So maybe there's a little bit of parallel there. Okay, so the most of the episode is Carol basically bringing Zosia into her life.
Yeah.
And living a different version of the Kumba decision, but basically doing what all of her other fellow survivors, if we want to call them that, have been doing the last 2 months, which is acting like everything's fine.
Right.
So she comes in there. It's really awkward at first. Zosia knows the painting. She says she's keeping it safe from the buffalo. She says they don't know what to talk about. So she asks to play a board game with her. They end up playing Spit, which, do you call it Spit or Speed?
Speed. I've always called it Speed. Yeah.
I've never heard it called Spit. I looked it up and I was like, oh, they're playing Speed. Oh, they were playing it. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like Speed. I went to like a camp at once and like these kids were playing called it Spit, and I think it's a very Two Americas type of deal. That is where
regional? I don't know. I've never run into it. It's funny. Okay, so we see a little bit glimpse of the way Zosia is around her, which is she starts kind of making jokes and being a little bit more human-like. I thought, like when they were playing cards, she makes a joke about how she's gonna win, and like it's very just like you feel the way Carol does in this scene, because you're watching this woman and you're trying to gauge how human she is. And Carol at the end makes a comment like, this is like playing cards with Google. It's very like at the beginning, it's very awkward. Did you feel in this moment that Carol was lost, like that they're like, oh, they've got her, she's the charm offensive has, there's a lot more, we'll get to it, but the charm offensive has, were you feeling like watching them together like the rebellion is over in New Mexico?
It kind of felt that way, and it also felt like, I mean, the article that just came out maybe a month or so ago about all these people who fall in love with ChatGPT and they ruin their marriages or their lives and things like that. It felt like that because you see this personality in Zosia especially start to form, like you said, and she's cracking jokes, and it's like feels like an independent person. It's like it's hard to imagine a hive mind coming together to make a joke. You know, like it was very. You start to wonder, is Zosia breaking through a little bit? And I think that's kind of what they're trying to get us to ask ourselves, or even hope for. Like Carol may be just trying to elude herself and feel like this is her actual coming to.
Yeah, it cuts to like one of the broader themes of the series, and a question that I think of every time I read these ChatGPT articles. And it's always horrifying, right? You're always reading about like some guy who's left his wife for an artificial intelligence girlfriend, or a woman who's like, I don't have to leave the house anymore. Sebastian is talking to me every night. We have sex, and you read this and you judge it and you laugh and you share it, and everybody thinks this is crazy. But I always read it and I think two things. One, could this actually happen to someone I know?
Yeah.
And two, like, is this defensible to any degree, right? Like, if it makes someone happy, does it matter if they're talking to a robot? And I think that's kind of the premise of this, you know, the joining, the hive mind, the series is, you know, it's always like asking like, what's so bad about this?
Yeah.
And I think this is the episode where they like make it very small and personal, and like, why is it important that we have a human partner? Like, what is the case for humanity in your life? So I wasn't sure what to make of how Carol was regarding this, and I don't think she is either. As
you're talking, I just got an ad that says, try Gemini for Google Chrome. Just throwing that out there.
Do you use it for anything?
I've used ChatGPT for like a vacation. Like that's probably like to sort of like plan out a vacation. Or like give me that's it. I don't use it for anything else. Like I haven't found it to be useful. Like even when I go to the top of Google and it's there, I don't know how to disable it, but I see it sometimes. It doesn't really help me. I just haven't found a good use for it. And I think that when we're looking at these, I saw this guy post this thing that was like, it was an AI of like a chef show, but they were cooking one of the xenomorphs from Alien. And he was like, tell me this is useless. And it looked realistic enough, but I'm like, I haven't seen any of these sort of fake videos like the Martin Luther King at Monday Night Raw or whatever that's going around. I haven't seen any of these things and thought this is contributing anything useful to anybody. I think, or not even entertainment. It's not even entertaining. I haven't seen one that's like really
funny good or interesting, or I just think the visual stuff, there's a lot of different, we're painting a broad brush.
Yeah.
The visual aspects, like I'm just like, what? Okay. Like it's actually taught me, again, to kind of go to the point of the show, how much it matters to me that somebody made something, because like a video, I like when somebody does like a funny like MS Paint Photoshop, I'm so much more likely to laugh
right,
than a realistic video that's fake. That means it doesn't do anything for me.
The comedy of the Jordan crying meme versus what we're getting now, it's light years different. Like you put
we long for the days.
Right, you put a Jordan crying meme over John Cena's face when he loses his last match. I'm going to laugh hysterically. Like, that's just what it is versus what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I think just the super turbo powered Google is the only utility that I sometimes, and it's only useful to me in large part because Google is so, like, I can't find anything on the internet now. So, but yeah, I don't use it in any work capacity. It's just wrong too often. Anyway, sorry, deviation.
Well, I actually, we're opening up a can of worms. Let's to me, I saw 2 commercials back to back that were so. There was one about this woman, I think it was a Meta thing, and she was like asking what the weather was going to be like, and they were telling her to wear what to wear. And then the next one, I'm sure you've seen this, the next one's like Lil Wayne asking one of those things how to plan a party for his niece, like what to do for a party for his niece, because he had planned like strippers or something like that, and they were like, don't do that, anyway, it's just like these things are, and it factors into, it goes back to the show, it's like it's stripping these things that make us unique and human, right? Like they're advertising the stripping away of humanity, where I'm relying on something to tell me what to wear and to celebrate like a family member's years on this earth. Like those are pretty human things that make us who we are. And they're telling us you don't have to do that. You can rely on technology to tell you how to do it. Like these are very intentional things that are very disturbing to me to watch.
The subtext also of every commercial is like, "Hey, you stupid idiot!"
Right. Yeah.
Like there's a guy who looks up like, "What should I cook for a first date?" And it's like it gives him a pasta recipe. Just Google first date, and there's a million pasta recipes. There's no actual value add. Okay, sorry. Well, but in some ways, like what we're watching this episode is, what if you take a person who is like us? She is skeptical. She is educated. She is not the least likely person you would read about in one of these articles about falling in love with their ChatGPT girlfriend. And let's put her to the test.
Yeah.
Like, let's bring in like the most advanced AI that exists. I know the show's not explicitly about this, but let's see if she accepts the robots, basically.
Yeah.
So we see her softening. It seems like it. She they go outside and she asks her if they could power wash off the comeback, which is just shame.
Yeah.
And then there's an interesting thing. She asks to see where they sleep, and Zosia takes her to an event center, and she learns a little bit more about them. They all just, I've been wondering this, right? They all just sleep in like communal areas to save resources. There's a dog named Bear Jordan there.
Yeah.
And she asks, this is something I've wondered, if the animals are susceptible. The woman says no, but the animal's still attached to a guy. By the way, why hasn't Carol gotten, just go get it? I would get a dog.
Yeah.
Get a dog, if you feel lonely. Especially knowing that they're still at least have some agency.
I know Carol has terrible pet takes. I bet she hates dogs and hates cats. I just think I bet she has terrible like pet.
Okay.
Ideas.
So big moment though. She falls asleep with her arm on Zosia there. Feels like she's cracking.
Yeah.
But then she wakes up, they go home, says she has had a nice time, and we see her go into her office, pull back the board with the hidden whiteboard. She has a board that has her like about Wakara, the writing stuff. She pulls that one and she writes down. She gets back to work. So what did you think in that moment? Because it seems like it's like, oh boy, our girl she's fallen. She's not fighting back. She's not investigating anymore, because her going and writing that then kind of reimagines the scenes up to this point.
It doesn't really. I'm not sure if I buy it all the way. Like I'm not sure. Like if I'm buying, it feels like one of those things that makes her feel good. Like feels like that's what she's actually doing. Yeah, but I'm not sure if she's actually doing it. Which we get to, a very, I guess carnal reaction that would indicate to me that that's not, this is not part of her research. Or maybe I just think she's doing this thing to like make herself like,
Feel like she
like
hasn't completely given in.
I'm gonna watch that show because I bet it sucks, and it's like you locked in.
It is. You and I talked about this, like this constant. It's so much easier to just give in to technology and
Yeah.
to the group and the hive
Mhm.
mind, and pushing back is hard. And
Yeah.
Manousos is doing the hard. He is not breakable, but
Right.
okay. Well, I thought it was interesting because it definitely puts the rest of the episode. You're kind of watching with that in mind. You're like, is
Yeah. Yeah.
she investigate? Because she's hanging out with Zosha, and yeah, it's intercut with her writing down stuff she's learning. Like they go for a hike, they see a train.
Mhm.
She says she likes the sound of a train because it's the loneliest sound in the world. Zosha, it's interesting. She doesn't know stuff about
Yeah.
Carol. She seems curious in a way that I don't know if I'm like totally buying it, but it also, I felt like watching her as every scene went by, it seemed like Zosha, the character, was getting better at interacting with
Yeah.
Carol in a way that, again, is very much how like ChatGPT works.
The algorithm. It was
Yeah.
the algorithm. It was like the algorithm learning
Yeah.
what your likes are, and then putting nothing but like poodles on your discover page. Like that's just what it was. Also, that moment was interesting because it's the only time maybe that the hive mind has learned new things. Like how often do they learn a new bit of information?
Well, there's a scene later where she asks about, she wants her to write a new Waikaro. And at first I watched that thinking like, this is just, it's again, very interesting because Carol found out her actual lover, her partner, didn't actually like her writing.
Yeah.
Here's ChatGPT being like, everything you write is the best thing ever. And so on one hand, it feels very fake and obsequious. But on the other hand, I was thinking like, maybe they are like really desperate for new content.
Yeah. And there was an art versus there's an art argument being made here, right?
Yeah.
Of like, what is the world without any art? And there's no more art being made.
Yeah.
Really right now. And she's one of the last people alive who can provide art, and they're longing for it. Even as they've automated everything, there's still a space for them to long for art.
It is interesting too, because we just don't know like if these people have any incentive or drive other than survival, and that sort of suggests they might. She also finds out they're from a planet called Kepler 22, and we know this because she's writing it down as she's learning it. They're building a giant antenna because they want to broadcast the same message that was sent to Earth to share the gift, as Zosha says. She asks for more markers. And that's when Zosha was like, ooh, we got a new Waikaro or whatnot. Yeah. It comes up again. When they play croquet, she asks her, what was your best writing day like? Which again, it was like, I was watching this now thinking, is this woman sucking up to her, or is she genuinely trying to procure new information? It is like how AI runs out of stuff to train on and it becomes useless. And that's why they keep trying to buy access to new content. Because
what's the point? Like what are you gathering as a hive mind by asking that question? Or are you are you just trying to make some facsimile of friendship? Like what is the it was a really, I mean, there's a lot of talk about how boring the show is, and people were talking about the boredom, but I just found some of these conversations to be really fascinating because they create so many questions. And if we know about Gilligan the way that he does these shows, we're not going to get answers. Like they don't close the loop on everything when they do this. They leave us to speculate.
Well, there's just a lot of ambiguity in both sides. Like we don't quite understand the hive mind and what they want out of all of this. And then on the other side, we're still not sure if Carol's fighting back. So she stops fighting back after they go to a diner she used to write at. The old waitress is there. She's like, wait, this burned down. It's revealed they rebuilt it, and it's too hard of a sell for her. So she runs away. That's the other thing about like some people, myself included, don't like AI because it's too, I'm like, stop sucking up to me. They're like, that's a great question. I'm like, that was a stupid question. So they try too hard with Carol. She runs away. Zosha follows her back to her house. Carol gets upset that Zosha won't use the word I. And finally she does. And Carol says somebody has to put the world right, even if you guys don't, if you leave me all over again. So Carol, the ethical side of Carol is fighting back now and is saying like, nah, we're not going to stop fighting. And then Zosia puts a move on her.
Yeah.
What do we think? Which is very much that's not what they do.
Right.
Supposedly.
Right. They're supposed to ask for your consent for everything and ask if it's okay. Can I give you a hand? Can I give you a handshake? Can I touch you? Can I do this? This was not asked. It was based off of reading things about Carol. And so what we have here, to me, what we have are two people who were physically intimate, and I do not know if either of them have had consent in the way that we traditionally think about consent, right? Like I think about, we talked about the idea of consent with somebody's body is not there. So Carol has been intimate with Zosia's body, or the person who, like the person's body without her brain being part of it. And we do not know what Zosia used to understand that Carol wanted, because I'm thinking about if she's looking at Carol and this hive mind is feeding her, like she's giving off some sort of like, this is what somebody looks like when they're wanting to do something. And this is what their body language says. Like a body language expert is in their brain telling them this. That's like, there are things that neither of them know about the other person's consent that makes this really, I didn't feel good about
it's kind of hard to parse out for both sides. Like who should be, who's in the wrong here. It feels wrong. It also feels super manipulative of the hive mind, and it felt like, it does feel like when someone's trying to break up with you and you throw your last best shot.
Do what you can.
Which again is not, it's purportedly not how they are. So it's an interesting decision, but it feels like their last attempt to keep her, and it works. And it's, I think
it's like our buddy doing the phone sex thing to Patrick at the end of this is all I got.
Casey was her name. It's fine. Oh, brutal. I also think so it works. And I also think it works because probably from Carol's perspective, she becomes one of those people in the articles. That's my only read on this, is like she thinks she's real. Like it, and because it feels like something a real person would do. It doesn't feel like something the hive mind would do. She spends the night writing. She gives her the pages. She acts like there's this. It is a funny scene where she's like, "Did you?" She's so familiar with the lore. And it really is like a writer's dream to have like the super fan who knows everything you've ever written. But it's not real. Like the Helens, that's real,
it's I went through the logistics of this way too deeply for my own probably mental health. But I've realized that every human being on Earth has had sex with Carol now. Like everybody knows what it's like. Like everybody knows what she did.
Earlier where she asked when they're getting the massage, she was like, "So is everybody experiencing this?" She was like, kind of,
she's like, "You're massaging yourself," like kind of weird. Like everybody knows what's going on. That's a lot of pressure, a lot of stage fright, a lot of performance anxiety. It's like,
she has to pretend that she's dealing with an individual, and this is the moment where she succumbs to that pretense.
But also deeper into the rabbit hole. This is another hypothetical. I told you, thought too much thing. If there's somebody alive, which I'm assuming there is, who's already had sex with Carol, right? Are they feeding Zosia? Like, are they? And you know what I'm saying? Like, they have this shared idea of what it's already like.
You have thought a lot about this.
I've thought way too much about it. This is like. I could write 2,000 words right now about questions about half of this thing. Like what? It just makes the whole thing just so questionable. Like, what are
it's like when people have sex with their ChatGPT partners. Assumably they've spoken with them a lot and given them all kinds of information, and the ChatGPT knows a lot about them.
But the difference is they have actual insight to people already who've already had sex. Like that never should happen theoretically. I can imagine another time would happen in like real life, but they are already deeply familiar with Carol intimately before Zosia was with her.
You spent time thinking about that. I spent time thinking about how she read 100 pages in a night.
Yeah, right. That's
it's like a night in which they were busy too. She gives it so the pages, by the way, reveal she's turned the main character into a woman, which is they literally made Zosia look like the character.
Yeah. I'm just saying, sex could have been that great if you get up and write 100 pages.
Well, so they show her. It's funny because they started the scene with her making the punch, and then they end this whole episode with her making breakfast. Same shot. You see Helen's grave, judging from afar. And they show Zosia, and she's like wearing a dress, which is again an interesting decision because it feels like they're playing house, and now she's like her weird wife. And she asks her favorite food, and she gives her this story about mango ice cream with all these like granular details. So she's like giving her more backstory of this character.
Yeah,
it's a character.
Yeah. Well, is it Zosia's actual?
Yeah,
it's Zosia, but like, so it's Zosia. This is the thing that so she paused after that. Just I thought she had unlocked something by making her like relive an actual.
Yeah,
I thought she like glitched by reliving her own like the actual human memory in that way. But I guess she was getting communicated with. But it felt like she was
about
glitching
the Manousos thing. Yeah, she says you have a visitor. She looks upset. I thought so too when she glitched. I was like, whoa, did you make her glitch by like because they're not supposed to still have a connection to their prior like when Carol's talked to them before, they would say the person's body formerly I thought so too. So before we get to the reveal, which is that Manousos is across the border, he's coming. This whole thing, it did. I'm so glad you brought up those articles about people with the ChatGPT boyfriends or whatever, because it made me sad watching a woman who, for all the people who don't like her and don't like the scenes with her and feel like they're slow and all of that, felt like the last real human, like she was, other than Manousos, fighting back, and just to see her give in and succumb to the charm offensive, the seduction, it was depressing to watch. And it also just reminded this episode, I feel like, was just a good case study for how it's so hard to fight this. Yeah,
because it's depressing, but also like she's being happier, and she's
way happier in this episode than the last few.
She feels happier. She's not harming anybody. Like nobody's harming her. Like with the ChatGPT stories, of course, like there are people who you leave your wife for, that sucks. But like people who are just single, who are sad, and this thing is not making you sad anymore. Like it could be weird to me, but like people are happy, and we can, and not to get too, but like when you think about women and the dangers that are out there for women when they're dating people, like ChatGPT's not theoretically not going to do some of these things to you. There's just there's part of it where it's like, are we just being judgy on these things, or is it just like, because this is a woman at the end of the world, and how can I really tell her what to be, what should make her happy or not?
This show makes you confront a thing, which I think is something we're all thinking about as, I know we keep using ChatGPT, but just technology in general makes the world friction, which is what are we fighting for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? I feel so strongly in my heart that people should not have artificial intelligence boyfriends and girlfriends.
Yeah.
But why? What is, if I really have to make a case for it, can I? Can Carol? Can Manousos? It feels wrong. And, I go back to a couple episodes, when you and I talked about the avocado toast, and we're fighting for the capacity of humans to surprise other humans, to continue learning. But with that comes a lot of pain, to your point, and scary things and violence. And so it's so crazy.
These are things that make us these are things that make us happy. Is not this is what I cannot imagine not sharing an avocado toast with somebody, but I am not in a place where I am just, alone and lonely and don't have any, don't know what else, that, and there are people who don't want that interaction and just want this, is it selfish? Is it I'm just thinking about what I want and what makes me happy, and I want that for other people, but that's not what they value or want, or this is what the only thing they got left. These are, the questions. I mean, take away the environmental aspect of it, like you destroyed the world by doing it. But like in a vacuum beyond that, like there's real questions about
it's
happiness.
kind of okay to take it outside the realm of AI a bit, because it's obviously he wasn't. That's not.
Yeah.
It really is like, how do you make a case for life with other people when other people do really bad things? And especially when the alternative is like, what if you replaced all those people and still got all of the benefits, but got rid of the bad stuff and the friction and the people making you upset? And that's what she's wrestling with. That's what the show's wrestling with.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have been with worse people than artificial Zosia. Like, she's just like this.
But also, it's like the joy of friendship and love is that it's earned.
Yeah.
And this is not earned. And she's making her feel like she earned it by slowly kind of, acquiescing and giving little kernels, but it's fake. It's still fake.
But you could get fake, unearned love in human all the time.
Yeah.
Like you can go your whole life having fake, unearned love through every single relationship you have, and then you die, and you've not had anything that is of this deep sort of impact and love that we're speaking of and looking for. But that's just, I don't know.
Take it outside the realm of books or love. Sorry, me. Like with work and like, she writes and whatever, but like, what is the case for the hard work of making art or writing if you can bypass it all and get work that the vast majority of people suddenly believe is of similar quality and value? What is the case for that? Why is art only valuable to us when there's sweat equity, when it feels like somebody's experiences are poured into it? Why do you, going back to what you were talking about, why do these images all feel so meaningless?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's the Manousos part of it.
Yeah.
He's directly in the midst of like, why are you trying so hard? Like, why are you trying so hard when you do not have to? Like, think about all the times that we ridicule people. Like, if somebody went out, like walked in front of you and got a pen and paper and said, I'm about to balance my checkbook, you would look at them like they're from another planet,
Yeah.
But there are people I don't trust the technology. Like, I don't trust this other thing. And 30 years ago, telling them that, hey, there will be an app that will show you all of your payments already out and you don't have to do it anymore. They'd be like, I'm absolutely not trusting that. That's too easy for me.
And that's what people always say too, when you criticize like AI art or whatever. People say, well, Photoshop exists. And you're like, but it's different. And then it's parsing out that difference is, these are the things that the show is wrestling with, for sure.
I get I write books and I get articles and things. I get red squiggly lines that tell me when I've misspelled something, which did not exist.
Yeah, right.
When William Faulkner was writing books, like it's different.
Yeah. When does humanity matter? Where does it matter? Why is it still valuable? How do you make that case? Yeah. We're about to find out, because Manousos is now going to have to convince Carol to. I mean, he's going to pull up on this scene. Carol with her Stepford wife, bot girlfriend. We last see him. Zosia glitches and says he's coming. We see him in the ambulance. I believe he was crossing the border, so he's getting close. Dressing his wounds horribly. So I think the final episode is going to be about what we're talking about, which is him convincing her to rejoin the resistance. I'm excited to see these two characters interact, speak to each other. Obviously we really like him and find him enthralling. So I like it when he's on camera. So it'll be interesting to see if the hive mind intercedes at all or tries to. I felt like, what does Zosia do? Does she,
Yeah, I mean, they brought him on the other side of the gap, so it seems like they don't have a problem with him.
Again, goes back to like, why do they want to keep them alive?
Why
do they want to keep them happy? What's going on? Maybe it's because they're desperate for new content. I get it. I can relate. Okay, moving on. We will of course do the Pluribus finale next week. Fallout season 2.
There we go.
Fallout season 1. When I texted you, I was like, I kind of want to talk about Fallout. It's just it's a show based on a video game. If you're listening to this part, you probably know this, but it is a post-apocalyptic scenario. People live underground in vaults. One of the vaults is attacked by a woman named Moldaver. Kyle MacLachlan, who's like the mayor of that little vault 33, he's taken prisoner. His daughter, who's the main character, Lucy, follows her, thus unleashing the events of season 1, where she learns at the end of season 1 that her dad is not a good dude. And she meets Walton Goggins' character, the Ghoul, who we get a lot of flashbacks in season 1. We find out was an actor who found out his wife was basically collaborating with the richest people in America to bomb America so that the vaults, show is very much about capitalism.
Yeah.
Technology, it's kind of similar to Alien in a lot of ways, I would say.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's my 30-second recap. Before we get to this season 2 premiere, I do want to ask you, I know I kind of offhandedly said this. I said that this might be one of the best video game shows ever created. I said that because, so I didn't play the games.
Okay.
And it seems like the show, I've read a lot about this, has kind of tweaked some of the lore in really interesting ways to make it work.
What is what is your video game you never talk about video game
I grew up playing the hits, and then I used to have to watch my brother play like games on the computer, like fighting, like killing games on our computer. So I am familiar with a lot of my generations, like GoldenEye, SEAL Team, or Rogue Spear, all those. But what I feel watching this is for me, the show tonally, visually, story-wise captures what I enjoy about video games. And I think that's why I said that, where it's like, it's just fun. It moves quickly. The action it's super gory, but in like a comedic way, kind of like The Boys. And it feels like it has the same kind of like childlike wonder of a video game. That's why I say that. Yeah.
It acknowledges its video gameness. It's campy in a lot of different ways. And I think that, playing into the 50s Cold War stuff adds to the camp of it.
Yeah.
It's not too serious. It's very, like we talked about, sort of the trilogy of, or the triumvirate of underground shows, which is Paradise and Silo and this is the one that sort of acknowledges its own sort of ridiculousness. And it is fun. It's a lot of fun. I did, when I first went back to watch it, I thought I was waiting for Kevin Hart to show up because it came out right around when that Badlands movie came out, and I thought it was the same thing, and that was fairly a terrible movie. But yeah.
I like it a lot better than The Last of Us. Especially the last season of The Last of Us, which is the opposite of campy. It takes itself super seriously. It's super grim and dark, and this color is bright, and even in the vaults, it feels bright and it's funny. I mean, this is a funny show.
Yeah.
The main character is Lucy is very gee golly whiz, almost annoyingly chirpy, but that's part of the vibe of it. And the show ended with a cliffhanger, right? So she finds out her dad, the last season.
Yeah.
Her dad basically, she doesn't know the extent of, how the world ended up the way it is and all of that. But she finds out that her dad is not a great guy, and he shows up at the end when she meets him. He steals one of the suits from Maximus. I think he takes Maximus' suit, right? If I remember.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't his. I don't know if it was his suit.
Oh, okay.
Or just somebody. So because somebody, one of the things that Brotherhood.
Yeah, they have these mech suits, and runs away, and then she joins up with the Ghoul. Their interactions are great because he's super dark, disgusting. To go find him and chase him, and it's kind of unclear what she wants out of it, or if she's going to want to kill him, but she realizes that her mother had been living above ground as a ghoul herself and kills her. And then Maximus at the end is left behind, and he's not in the pilot, which was an interesting, or not the pilot, sorry, season 2 episode 1. We don't see him at all.
Shout out to the actor who plays Maximus. I apologize for calling you Jonathan Miners the whole season, but he was good. He was so good. But
he's so funny. He is good. His character is kind of he's not an idiot, but he's a loser. Yeah, and I thought he really captured that.
Yeah,
and he ends up kind of becoming the new boss, the brother. But we don't see him. So episode 1 of season 2. Opens with a flashback and kind of sets the stakes for season 2, I think, which is it's around the time of the apocalypse. I think it's 2060 or so. It's the near future, we call it that, even though it looks kind of retro-y. And we see it's a big city, and there's blue collar guys beating robots, which I'd love to beat some robots. And then they're in a bar, and we see a guy who looks a lot like Joe Fortenbaugh at ESPN.
A little bit, yeah, with when he had the stash going, yeah.
It's Justin Theroux. It took me a second to realize it was Justin Theroux, who I really like,
Yeah.
the actor. And they're all, you know, like talking about how crappy the robots and the rich guy are, and they go outside, and he has a bunch of money in his trunk, offers one of the guys money to insert something in his neck. The guy says no, he does it anyways, controls the guy. The guy beats up his friend, and then he blows his head up. So we don't really know who he is at this point, or we do actually. Pardon me. He was in the prior season when Cooper's wife, who works the Vault Tech, was meeting with all of the guys about bombing the world. He was part of that. All right. We just know it seems like he's going to be like the new big bad.
It seems like he is the person who, whatever his job, he had the bombs and orchestrated the actual bombing. Like that seems to be what his thing is.
We see Lucy. We pick up with Lucy and the Gold. They're on the run. They're I think this is a scene from the video game or a location, but they're running into trouble, and he's hung up, and they've got a plan. She's hiding in the dino, and she, of course, offers these. It's like some tribe mercy, and they say no, so they end up just killing them all. So they talk a little bit about her dad and where he's going and why is he going to Vegas, and then the Ghoul tells him about a man named Robert House who controls everything. So we're kind of learning what's in Vegas, why are they going to Vegas, who's the guy from the beginning, all of that. And we flash back to the board meeting and his wife talking to him and saying, we'll drop the bomb ourselves. Coop rushes home, grabs his daughter. So, there's a little bit of like back and forth in the time frame of like trying to figure out what's going on. Later we see, I'll just jump ahead and skip a couple scenes. We see him with his daughter. He's at a diner talking to Moldaver, and we had a lot of exposition in this episode.
Yeah.
She's like, Robert House is building a missile system. Your wife is going to Las Vegas. You got to play house and pretend everything's nice. So it's, I think it's a good connectivity between the past and the present, and us having a greater understanding of how this was executed. We still don't really know what the deal is, though, with Robert House.
Yeah.
In between, we see Rich in 33 is asking where Norm is her brother. For those who've forgotten, he got trapped in 31 after investigating it. We know Betty is one of Bob's buds, the people who are routinely assigned control of the vault. We see Stephanie and Chet in 32. And then we see Norm. He is in 31 arguing with Bud, who's like the Roomba. He's trapped in there. The Roomba's like, what case chance do you have against vertical upstream integration? It's like the corporate seek. So that we'll get to that at the end, but that is like a very strong through line of Fallout. Again, it's very similar to Alien Earth, right? Which is corporations are going to be the death of us.
Yeah. It's corporations, it's capitalism, it is, and taking it past the metaphorical, right? Like there's this is how far would they go for greed? And they're saying we are going to bomb everybody so that we can have basically these few little products and reconstitute the world in our image. And what was great about it in the season finale, my favorite episodes, is like when left up to your own imagination as like extreme capitalists, when you imagine a new society, the things they came up with were like, what if we separated children from their parents?
Yeah.
Like, what if we put drugs into this is what the world looks like when you can reinvent things. And it made me think a lot about like when all of these huge companies, these social media companies especially, came out, they're like, we're going to have a new version of the world, right? We're going to have a new version of building companies from the bottom up. And it took 2 years for all of them to realize, actually, we're just going to be capitalists like everybody else and exploit the least, like the poorest workers, and fire people whenever we want to like pivot to video or AI. And just, we can't imagine, like part of a function of being a billionaire capitalist is the inability to imagine a world that does not rely on that system.
It's probably not a coincidence that all these shows are starting to lean into that as their villains, in terms of like the Justin Theroux's character from the beginning has like a lot of Elon Musk kind of energy. Like he's, he says obsolescence and so like they're tech bros, and Pluribus is not we have not about that, but it's kind of about that.
What's crazy about it is that there's what all these shows about, and the only way to get these shows out to the world is to be put on these platforms.
It's an interesting point. Yeah. It's Fallout is very much about that. It's what you described, and it's about, similarly to Pluribus. It's funny because we're talking these shows together.
Yeah.
Who's going to fight for humanity, and what does that look like? And it comes in unexpected places. Norm, he was like the nerdy brother who was like totally worthless during there's in season 1 at the beginning, amazing scene where Lucy's being married off and they realize it's the Raiders who have come down, and there's like a bloodbath fight. Lucy's is just like shredding people, and the brother's like hiding. He's like a dork. But he's stuck in 31 and he fights back. And the Roomba's like, just get in the cryopod. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You can become the next manager. And he's like, and he says, everything's planned out. He's like, well, if that's the case, I'm going to choose chaos. F your plans. And he unfreezes everyone. And that's the end of it in that episode. But it did feel like him making a choice, which is to not take the easy path and to be part of the rebellion in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's about that. It's about who's fighting and what do we like to get out of the pods and realize that there's something like Moldaver. Like, what is she fighting for? Like she's fighting for, I guess, like to rebuild humanity, which would be interesting to see how she survived all this time. Like this, there's so many questions about what are you actually like? What's the point at this point?
Yeah, we don't know where it seemed like she was going to die at the end, but she's such a good actress, and it's right, because the other thing we've learned in season 1 is that humanity was rebuilt and then they bombed it again. Her dad was part of the people who took it down again, which is this episode, a lot of it is Lucy kind of reckoning with how bad her dad is. When they're going to try to find him, they come across like someone he's brutally murdered along the way. The goal is kind of poking at her, like, what are you gonna do when we see him? You haven't been killing people.
Right. Yeah. It's very like Joker Batman of like, I want to corrupt this uncorruptible person. And,
That is interesting because in Pluribus, it's like, what if you took the like biggest misanthrope and had her try to save humanity?
Yeah.
And in this one, it's like, what if you took the nicest girl in the world and made her have to be a bad?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the tension of the show in some ways, because she's a lot more likable, right? And I think people like her a lot more.
I'm not sure how like she like they're walking a real tightrope because of these moments where she's like so naive.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, well, you should, you shouldn't still be that way.
Yeah.
And so,
I know. At this point, how long?
Yeah. At this point. Yeah. So they're walking a line because even when she was like negotiating with, I think part of it was just her trying to like make the ghouls suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
but it's just like come
really?
on.
You think they're gonna play ball? We see them as this is all coming. They're searching for her dad. They're tracking him. We also, Goal / Cooper acknowledges that his mission here is he thinks his wife and daughter might be alive in a vault somewhere, right?
Yeah. Which can I?
Yeah.
Let's spitball a little theory here. So they're in the pods, right? And they get released from the pods ever so often, right? So like every 30 years or something, right? The buds can come out and then they can be, they become overseers or whatever for however long. And they're there for a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And so, and we're assuming that his wife has been was in a pod or maybe still in the pod or whatever, right? And we don't know where the daughter is, right? So is it possible that the current overseer at 32, the current overseer, the black woman there,
Betty,
could that be his daughter?
Oh, his daughter is she? Okay, so I was trying to do the math of the age.
Yeah, I was trying to do that too. Like, could it be? I'm not sure if it could be his wife because, like, I'm not sure if she would age. But like the daughter, if the daughter had come out of a pod longer before, I don't know. Like, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes, they're using like outside, like you got a younger black person, got an older black person in the show. Sometimes there ain't a lot of us. Sometimes it's like they could be the same person.
There's a reason why it does that. Yeah. I actually, first I thought it might be the wife, and then I was like, no way, because the timelines didn't align. That's an interesting suggestion. I do feel like whatever the answer is, it's not just going to be like they're in a pod. Like there's definitely going to be some sort of like, whoa, dramatic
Right.
reveal or twist or whatnot. It's a theory. It's an interesting theory. Nobody please spoil if you've played the games and know stuff. Don't spoil in our YouTube comments.
Yes, please don't. Yes.
So they find a abandoned vault.
Mm.
It's like hidden. The elevator's hidden behind like a diner or something. Or it was a theater. Anyways, and this is the vault where the billionaires said, "What if we turned everyone into communists?" Lucy being like, "Communists," in her like sheltered way was pretty funny. And the goal is like, I don't know why is your dad doing this? Like, why is he here? What's going on? He's suspicious. We find out because they stumble across a dead-looking human who the dad, using one of the devices from the beginning, the mind control, computer, brain, whatever, turned the guy into his guinea pig and had to deliver a message to Lucy, which is go home, I'm going to fix all this. And then the head explodes like it does in the beginning. Before we get to the final finale where we see the dad and he's made it to New Vegas, I guess I want to ask you, like, do you feel like there's still enough of a mystery here where you're trying to, like, do you feel like because they kind of spelled out a lot of it?
They did. Yeah.
Like what do you feel like are the biggest unanswered questions at this point that they're going to be resolving?
I actually think that the ghoul's wife is not a villain. I think that there's something there that she was trying to play. I think that she's actually she was actually trying to do something. Like, I'm not sure what her actual end game was, but I think that she was trying to figure out, like, maybe she was working with Moldaver had to have him recorded so he could, like, maybe she was trying to get, like, have the smoking gun be.
What makes you think that?
Well, because, like, I just feel like the way that she delivered it, like, it felt like there was some sort of conflict there internally where I just feel like also he's still looking for her. Like, he heard that and he's still looking for her. Right. So I'm not sure if I would be, and at some point he's looking for his family. So at some point the daughter, is with the last we saw the daughter, she was with him when the bombs were going off.
Yeah, right. The birthday party.
And now he's looking. Yeah, he's looking for them together. So, what I have possible is that they had reconvened and sort of worked things out together before the actual bombs went off. So I think that we're not getting her full story.
There's a missing piece. You're absolutely right. Between the last we saw of him when the bombs went off was he was riding with his daughter off into the sunset on a horse. Yeah. But then they were separated, and now the wife said it. So there's definitely a missing piece there. Totally agree. Obviously, Maximus and the state of things is now up in the air. We don't know the deal with him and the Brotherhood, and whether him and Lucy. They obviously had like kind of they were love interests in the first season, despite him not wanting to have sex. Right. So that's going to be resolved. I imagine we'll see him in the next episode because
the sex conversation with them again. It reminded me of like how we talk, how like COVID kids are like trying to figure things out. It felt like and it made me think about like art, like COVID art, like the art that we're getting, that COVID inspired art. I guess part of these like silo shows might be part of that. And like, what kind of art are we getting out of COVID? Where this is when it would be happening, right? This is the kind of COVID art to be getting as we're brushing up against like the eradication of so much original art. But that felt like a very much, this is COVID relational stuff. Well, the best COVID art we've gotten, of course, was Love Island for this season.
He was from the city that got raised, and did not have a normal upbringing, but neither did she. No one in this world has had a normal. Right.
But also back to the ghoul and Moldaver did not interact in present day, right? We did not see them interact currently, right?
When everybody meets at the end. I don't, because she gets the fusion tool that which is what they were all looking for, and gets it going. Well, and that's the other great mystery. Like, what are the ramifications of that? Because the Brotherhood now has control of that, and theoretically could kind of restart the world, right? So I think that's the big thing. Is like, what does that even look like? Do they actually want to? Are they the good guys or the bad guys? who are this show is very much it's similar to Alien in that like it's like who are the good, we know the characters are good, but the institutions that they all come from all seem kind of bad.
Yeah.
The thing that we do learn at the end, and we can wrap here, is sort of Hank's motivations in all of this, because we see him, he's wearing the mech suit, arriving at New Vegas, which looks intact and looks futuristic and clearly has been protected from the world. He walks in, takes off the suit, puts on a real suit. He's so happy to be back at a corporation, jumps on the mic and says, ostensibly he's trying to talk to Robert House. This is Hank reporting for duty. Sir, I hope you're alive. Hope we can talk about that promotion.
All right.
So obviously Robert's alive. A lot of the other mysteries too are like, how did the city stay protected? What is he trying to do here? We don't even know, like, what was maybe he launched the missiles, but what was the end game for him? It's unclear if he's not the vault guy. But we do know, we see Hank and we see what I think corporate evil looks like, which is a guy who just wants a promotion. Yeah,
which is what we're realizing in real life, which Superman, which was, we talked about one battle after another, Superman was the actual subversive piece of art that came out this year. But hit on the head, which is these dudes are losers. Like at the very heart of these corporations and these corporate dudes and people who love AI. Also, we talk about Pluribus. They're all losers. Like they're all lack taste. They lack any sort of art. They're kind of people who can't do anything for themselves. Their only aspiration is to suck up to other billionaires. And that scene of him who has been through a nuclear holocaust and, was frozen and led a society and murdered his wife and destroyed another society. All he wants is the approval of some other dweeb billionaire. Like that speaks at the heart of everything that's going on in the world right now.
I loved it. I loved the ending. I was like, yes. I thought it painted such a clear picture of the character, everything you're describing, why this, because I think the thing this shows me wrestling is how does humanity get to this point where we let corporations do this, and that's something that they're exploring, and this is a great like microcosm of that. Like there's one guy who's become this like tool of like insane corporate evil. Oh right, because he's a loser. Yeah. Meanwhile, his son, who everybody thought was a loser, is being a bad and like fighting back, and his daughter is literally going to the ends of the earth, like, and shooting, so there's heroes in this world, which is nice. There's people you root for, but it's kind of unclear what, like, who they're fighting for and what that looks like. And but we know the baddies are, that's for sure. Yeah. I'm excited to see where the season goes. I mean, it's such a propulsive show. Like I wanted to watch the next one, but I was like,
it feels like a show that we in the past we'd have gotten 8 episodes in one day and just like
burn through them,
burn through. Which I don't understand how I got to a place in the world where I'm watching so many commercials again. I don't understand. I lived like most of my adult life for like 10, 12 years, never seeing a commercial, just did not see commercials. And suddenly I'm right back in this place in the world where I don't even know how I got here watching commercials again. I don't even know how ads popped up in my life again after not being there. I haven't had cable ever as an adult. And I was commercial free for so long, and they're back. They are back with a vengeance. Every time I watch anything, I'm watching movies on different apps. I'm watching shows on things. I'm watching the sport. There's an ad now, like it's 1995, and I'm not sure how we lost.
You know what? We're built for this. We grew up watching commercials. Imagine being a kid who's like 15 now, having to watch commercials for the first time.
Yeah,
they don't know the struggle.
I remember distinctly my son was like 5 and he saw the commercial for a commercial interrupting his live show, like of Ninja Turtles. And he was so pissed off that he was like, what the is this that is in the middle of my TV show?
It's David Dennis's personal apocalypse right there. That is having to watch commercials. Yeah. Well, we got screeners of this. There were no commercials.
Well, there were no commercials for season one. There were a lot of commercials. I was powering through season 1, and then they have the little button again. Back to Pluribus and Carol, because there's a little button that says Go ad free. Just push a button and make your life easier. That's all you got to do. Manousos over here, baby. we're fighting a good fight. I don't care if it's $1.99.
No, I will not pay for Peacock Premium to go ad free. I will sit through this and complain about it.
I will. This is what we do. This is how we win, America. This is how we win.
Final question at this point. Maybe we can do this until we finish covering Pluribus. Which character do you have more faith in? Who would you put who would you back in terms of starting a rebellion? Carol Sturkis or Lucy from?
I'm going with, at least Lucy has like survival skills. We're going with Lucy here. Lucy Carol cannot function without like her whole foods being replenished.
It's a good call. All right, we'll be back next week to talk about the finale of Pluribus.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep talking about Fallout. See you guys then.